Picture this, you're the last person at a house party. The music stopped an hour ago. You're holding a warm beer, staring at empty pizza boxes, and that's when it hits you. Everyone coupled up and disappeared. Nobody said goodbye. Nobody told you they were leaving. You were just abandoned. Now here's what's going to blow your mind in the next few minutes, that exact feeling. Most men are living it every single day. Except she's still sitting right next to them on the couch. Stay with me because what I'm about to reveal will make you see every interaction with women differently. You're abandoned while she's physically present. And before this video ends, I'm handing you the verbal nuclear codes that flip this dynamic instantly. But I need to warn you about something critical, and you need to hear this before we go any further. These words are so devastating to the female ego that 90% of you watching right now will be too terrified to ever use them. And that fear? That's exactly why you'll stay trapped in the same suffocating loop while other men are living in complete freedom. I've watched this transformation happen hundreds of times. A man enters a relationship standing tall. 6 months later, he's asking permission to see his friends. A year in, he's apologizing for breathing too loud. 2 years down the line, he doesn't even recognize the person he used to be. She's completely reprogrammed him. And here's the twisted part that nobody talks about, he actually believes this is love. But wait, because what I'm about to tell you about this love will make your stomach turn. He thinks the constant walking on eggshells means he cares. He thinks needing her approval for everything means they're connected. He thinks the suffocating control means she's invested in him. He's been programmed to believe relationships are supposed to feel like this. Let me hit you with the truth that changes everything. Every single time she tests you and you fail, every time she pushes and you bend, every time she threatens and you beg, you think you're saving the relationship. You're not. You're murdering it. You're killing her attraction 1 week response at a time. And here's what keeps men up at night once they finally understand this, deep in her DNA, buried deeper than any feminist ideology or modern relationship advice, she needs you to be stronger than her. Every time you prove you're not, a piece of her love dies forever. Now pay attention to this next part because you can actually see this happening in real time. There's something I call the crown. It's not metaphorical. You can see it in how she walks, how she talks to you, how she looks at you. Or more accurately, how she looks through you. Like you're not even there. Like you're furniture that occasionally dispenses money and validation. The bigger that crown grows, the smaller you become, until one day you wake up as nothing more than a servant in her kingdom. And here's the part that destroys men. She's disgusted by what you've let yourself become. Now here's where it gets really dark, and you need to understand this mechanism before we get to the weapons. There's something called the test paradox. Women test men to see if they're strong enough. But here's the sick twist, the constant testing actually weakens most men over time. It's erosion. Each test strips away a little more of your backbone until there's nothing left but a hollow shell program to say yes, dear to everything. And I'm about to tell you something that's going to make you angry. She hates you for it. She hates that you become weak, even though her testing made you weak. She hates that you fail, even though she designed the tests so you'd fail. She hates what you become, even though she created it. Think about standing in line at the DMV for 3 hours. Eventually, you accept that misery is just part of the process. That's what happens in relationships. Men get so conditioned to the manipulation, the drama, the constant testing that they believe this is normal. They think every man experiences this. They look at other couples and assume behind closed doors, every guy gets the same treatment. Wrong. Dead wrong. Some men cracked the code. Some men learned the exact words that shut this down cold. And in the next few minutes, I'm giving you those weapons. But before I do, you need to understand something crucial about how to use them, because if you mess this up, it'll backfire spectacularly. Weapon 1, the ordinary truth. The first phrase that absolutely destroys a woman's ego requires perfect delivery. Listen carefully. You tell her she's ordinary. Not with anger. Not with emotion. Just as a simple observation of reality. Here's exactly how it sounds. You know, when we met, I thought you were different. Special. But you're just like every other woman I've known. Same insecurities. Same games. Same drama. You're completely predictable. Now, before you click away thinking this is too harsh, let me explain why this works at a psychological level that most people never understand. Every woman on earth believes she's the exception. She's not like other girls. She's unique. She's different. She's the special one who's going to change your life. When you casually inform her that she's just another actress reading from the same script every woman before her used, something fundamental shatters in her self-perception. I witnessed this outside a restaurant last month. A couple arguing. She's going off about how he doesn't appreciate her uniqueness, how he doesn't see how special she is. This guy, calm as a frozen lake, just says, "Special? You're doing exactly what my ex did." Word for word. It's like you all downloaded the same app. She went silent. Not quiet. Silent. Like her brain completely crashed. Because for the first time in her life, someone held up a mirror and showed her she wasn't the star of her own movie. She was just an extra in everyone else's. But here's what you need to know before using this weapon, and this is critical: this isn't an attack. It's a response. You don't lead with this. You use it when she's been wielding manipulation against you. When she's been using emotional terrorism to control you. Weapon 2, indifference to loss. The second weapon is even more powerful, and here's why most men will never have the spine to use it. You show complete indifference to her leaving. She threatens to walk out? You hold the door open. She says she needs space? You say, "Take all the time you need. I've got plans anyway." She mentions her ex is texting her? You say, "That's nice. Maybe you two can work things out. Now stay with me because I'm about to reveal why this breaks her entire reality." Every threat she makes operates on one foundational assumption: that you're terrified of losing her. The moment you show not just acceptance, but actual preference for her leaving, her entire world crumbles. It's like she's been playing poker thinking she has a royal flush, and you just revealed you weren't even playing the same game. A friend of mine experienced the classic manipulation last year: "I think we should see other people." You know what this usually is, right? She wants you to fight for her, prove your commitment, beg her to reconsider. Every fiber of her being expects you to panic. Instead, he said, "I think that's a brilliant idea. Actually, there's someone I've been wanting to ask out. Thanks for making this easy." The look on her face was priceless. She literally stammered, trying to take it back, suddenly explaining how she didn't really mean it, how she was just testing to see if he cared. And here's what you need to burn into your brain right now: that's what all of it is. Tests. Every threat. Every manipulation. Every dramatic exit. She's testing to see if you'll break. But here's the thing nobody tells you about passing these tests, and you need to hear this. Weapon 3, sexual ordinariness. The third thing that shatters a woman's crown completely? Her sexual self-image. Every woman believes her sexuality is her superpower. It's the ace up her sleeve, the nuclear option, the thing that makes her irreplaceable in your life. When you casually, almost dismissively, indicate that sexually she's nothing special, just average, maybe even below average, the psychological impact is devastating. But you can't say this crudely. You can't say it to hurt. You say it as a simple observation, like commenting on the weather. Honestly, the physical part of our relationship has always been just okay. I've had much more passionate connections before. But that's fine. Not everyone can be exceptional in that area. Then you continue whatever you were doing. Check your phone. Make coffee. Act completely unbothered. Watch what happens next, because this is fascinating from a psychological standpoint. She won't respond immediately. She'll go silent, processing what just happened. Because you just took her ultimate weapon and told her it's a toy gun. You just took what she thought was her strongest card and revealed it's actually worthless. Unlike other criticisms that she can deflect or rationalize away, this one sticks. Because deep down, every woman fears she might be ordinary in bed. You just confirmed her worst fear. Now here's what most men get completely wrong about these three weapons, and if you misunderstand this next part, everything I've taught you becomes useless. There's another technique that breaks women's brains completely. I call it the agreement method, and once you understand this, you'll see tests coming from a mile away. She makes a statement designed to hurt you, to make you defensive. Maybe I should just find someone who appreciates me. The weak man's response? No, baby, I appreciate you. Please don't leave. The strong man's response? You know what? You're absolutely right. You deserve someone who makes you happy, and clearly that's not me. I'll help you pack. She says you're not a real man. You agree, you're right. A real man wouldn't tolerate this behavior. Thanks for pointing that out. She says the spark is gone. You say, I've been feeling the same way. We should probably end this before we waste more of each other's time. Here's why the agreement method works at a level that bypasses her conscious mind entirely. Women's attacks are rarely actual statements. They're tests disguised as declarations. When you agree instead of defending, you break the entire framework of the test. It's like someone throwing a punch expecting resistance, but you step aside and let them fall face first into their own momentum. There was a video that went viral last year. A woman berating her man in public, saying he's pathetic, he's weak, he's not what she thought he was. And this guy, instead of arguing, just nods and says, "You're absolutely right. I am pathetic for putting up with this. But that changes today." Then he walked away. Just left her standing there in the middle of the mall. The comments were split. Women saying he was wrong to abandon her. Men saying it was the first time they'd seen someone handle it perfectly. But here's what destroys the female ego more than any words you could ever say, and this is the ultimate power move. Showing you're happier without her. When she leaves expecting you to fall apart, but instead you thrive. You don't chase. You don't call. You don't send those pathetic paragraphs about how much you miss her. Instead, you live. And not just live, you live better. You're suddenly doing all those things she called immature. Seeing those friends she said were bad influences. Pursuing those hobbies she called a waste of time. She expected her absence to be your punishment. Instead, it becomes your vacation. She thought she was the sun in your solar system. Instead, she realizes she was just clouds blocking your light. This creates what psychologists call an existential crisis in her mind. Her entire self-worth was built on being essential to your happiness. And you just proved she was actually preventing it. Now watch this pattern because it's so predictable it's almost scientific. Woman leaves dramatically, expecting the man to chase. Man doesn't chase. Starts posting pictures of himself genuinely enjoying life. Woman suddenly has an emergency that requires his help. Man doesn't respond. Woman shows up at his place to get things she doesn't actually need. Man is polite but distant. Woman suddenly wants to talk about us. Every single time. Like clockwork. You know what happens when you truly understand female psychology? You realize they're playing a game they don't even know they're playing. It's not calculated. It's instinctive. Like a bird building a nest or a spider spinning a web. They create these elaborate emotional traps not because they're evil, but because it's their nature. Here's something that's going to change how you see every interaction. Every test is secretly a plea. Please be strong enough that I don't have to be. Every manipulation is actually a prayer. Please see through this so I can finally respect you. There was a psychological study done in Stockholm where they monitored couples during conflict. They found that when men maintained emotional stability during female emotional outbursts, The women's stress hormones actually decreased faster than when men tried to comfort them. Think about that. Her biology literally calms down when you don't react to her chaos. Her body is telling her, finally. A man who won't break. Now here's the most powerful position in any relationship, and once you understand this, everything changes. It's not being the one who loves more or less. It's being the one who needs less. When you genuinely don't need her approval, her validation, her presence to feel complete, that's when you become irreplaceable. Because everyone else she's been with needed something from her. You're the first one who doesn't. There's something I call the mirror method. Whatever energy she gives you, reflect it right back. She's cold and distant? You're colder and more distant. She's disrespectful? You're dismissive. She threatens to leave? You've already left emotionally. It's not about being petty. It's about showing her that you'll match her energy. And if she wants to play stupid games, she'll win stupid prizes. But here's what most men don't understand about these weapons, and this is the truth that sets you free. These aren't weapons at all. They're truth. You're not lying when you say she's replaceable, she is. There are billions of women on this planet. You're not pretending when you don't fear loss. Why would you fear losing someone who makes your life worse? You know what happens when a man discovers his worth? When he finally wakes up and realizes he's been living in a prison of his own making? Most men will watch this entire video. They'll nod along. They'll agree with everything I've said. Then they'll go right back to saying yes, dear, and walking on eggshells and dying a little more each day. Because it's easier. Because it's familiar. Because they're more terrified of conflict than they are of losing themselves. But here's what I need you to understand before we end this: using these words isn't about being mean. It's not about being an asshole. It's about being real. It's about being honest. It's about finally telling the truth in a relationship built on lies and manipulation. When you tell her she's not special, you're telling the truth, she isn't. When you show you don't fear losing her, you're being honest. When you're happier without her, you're just acknowledging reality. These words women fear? They're not weapons of destruction. They're tools of construction. Building blocks for either reconstructing your current relationship on a foundation of respect, or building a new life without someone who doesn't deserve you. The choice is yours. You can keep living in fear, keep shrinking yourself to fit under her ever-growing crown. Or you can speak the words she fears but desperately needs to hear. Remember, she doesn't fear you leaving. She fears you staying but not caring. She doesn't fear your anger. She fears your indifference. And she doesn't fear your words. She fears your truth. Thank you so much for staying with me through this exploration. If you found value in today's discussion, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone who might benefit from it.